Once upon a time, there stood an island in the middle of the ocean, and people lived on that island. It was their home for centuries, or maybe even millennia. All until one day a young man had a dream. He woke up excited and ran all the way to the village elder. "Father," he said, "I have a dream." And he proceeded, telling the elder how he dreamt of a deep, dark ocean and of the beloved island that was being laced with the water serpents coming down from the heavy rains, and how all the people gathered all they had and built canoes. And the elder listened carefully and nodded. "You may go now," he said to the boy. And he called the council. "Dear people of this island and land held us for a very long time, but I am afraid the time has come for us to depart." The old man was known in his village for the wise counsel and for the wisdom that not many had. So although reluctantly, people trusted him and started to gather their possessions. It was time for them to go. And so, following the dreams of the young man, people learned how to build canoes, and soon they tied them all together, took their possessions, and set off. And as they did, they looked back and saw that a huge storm came onto the island, and soon in the horizon there was nothing left of it. The waters engulfed and swallowed it, taking it back to the depth of the ocean. And for many years, people mourned the lost lands. The women cried over the lost songs, and the man cried over the art of hunting. But as it happens, they had to adapt, and soon women learned new songs of the water, and men learned how to hunt. And some of the children learned how to swim before they knew how to stand or walk. And people found joy in the new way of living. They have learned how to dive deep and discover the mysteries of the ocean, how to jump high with the dolphins or hold paws and hands with the sea otters. They rested in the dark waters with the whales, and soon they became known as the people of the water. And many years have passed by, centuries in fact. Many generations have perished, and soon nothing but the faint memory was left of the times when the people were of the land. So faint indeed that it was only kept in old songs that grandmothers passed down to their grandchildren. And soon all believed that they were nothing but a dream. All believed that all they were people of the water. Until one day, a young girl had a dream, and she rushed to the elder and told her, "Grandmother, I saw an island in my dream, and the tips of our canoes pointing towards it, and a big storm behind us." The grandmother nodded. "Thank you, child," she said. She sighed heavily, knowing the burden of telling the village that time has come for them to move forward. And she looked deep within the horizon, reading the waters. and there, far, she could see the humpback whales and the cloud of birds around them, in hope to snatch some of the catch of the day. She smiled and dropped her hand into cool, refreshing, loving waters. "Take us to where we must go," she whispered. And so she told her people that was what must happen. And although reluctantly at first, people trusted her wisdom and her relationship with the deep ocean. She was the one who took them to the places for hunting. She was the one who took them to the places of peace, avoiding storms and rough weather. It was in that moment that she remembered the old songs passed down to her from her grandmother, which her grandmother received from her grandmother. And those were the songs of the people of the land. And she started to sing them, and others joined. And so they set off to the place they knew not of, full of trust and song. And in one dark night, as they were asleep, they both hit the land. And as people awoke in the morning, they saw the yellow sands and the green lush forest and rock looking down at them. And the island became their home. They learned how to garden and work the land, how to harvest and eat well. They found fresh water and learned how to tend to it. And soon all the old songs and all the old stories from the people of the land were remembered, guiding the people of the water how to live well. And many years have passed. And the young girl who once had a dream now was the elder of the village. And as she stood singing the songs of the water, her granddaughter ran up to her. "Grandmother," she said, "why are you singing of the water? We are people of the land." And her grandmother smiled and kissed the little darling in the forehead. "Dear one," she said, "remember those songs, for one day somebody will have a dream of the deep ocean, and our people will have to remember new ways to be." And they stood looking into the horizon, watching the humpback whales feast in deep waters and the cloud of birds circle around them, listening to the gentle sound of the waves. The grandmother started to sing, with her granddaughter joining in, knowing that one day those songs will show a way to a place from a dream.